To anyone who's out there listening to this video, I hate to say it, but it looks like it's clearly evident that the writing is definitely on the wall. So you see this picture right here, and this is actually a screenshot from a video. And what I'll probably do is I might leave the link to the actual video down in the description, and you can go and watch it for yourself. And you see the caption right there. It says, "Happening today. NYPD to address new initiatives to tackle Asian hate crimes." I actually came across this article on Tariq's page, and something he said in his caption is what actually drove me to make this video, and I have to agree with what he said. Basically, what he said was he believes, and I'm sure others as well, that this is a ploy to get Asian Americans all types of different resources. Mind you, they have a lot of resources as it is. To get all types of resources, that's number one. And number two, to push this propaganda that it's mainly black people that's doing all of these anti-Asian hate crimes, if you put that in quotations, and that it's only us, even though we clearly see what's really going on. But look at all this stuff they're having. And the thing is, if you look back at what the Attorney General did last year in May, when she tried to create, Letitia James, when she tried to create that hotline for Asians, and people called her out on it. And then she quickly switched it up to POC. But by that time, it was too little too late. They were already on that tip way last year. It's amazing how many people forgot about that. Now they're ramping it up even more. I did a video about how in California they're giving them, I forgot how much money it was. It's millions of dollars that they're setting aside for the Asian community out there to deal with quote unquote anti-Asian hate crimes. Now what's going to end up happening is people should start questioning if these so-called anti-Asian American hate crimes are even real, or are they staged to get money, or to at the very least garner sympathy from the people. So you have to be very careful. That's why I'm looking at this whole situation with a side eye right now. And black people have been going through it, especially in New York, for years. I just did a video talking about the corrupt NYPD. And now you have this, where they're literally just willing to throw out support to the Asian community. And they're just now getting started. And when I say just now getting started, I'm talking about getting started dealing with quote unquote racism that's coming their way, if you want to call it that, because a lot of people are even questioning that. Meanwhile, black people have been dealing with this just in New York alone for a very long time. And there's never even a sliver of justice that comes their way. Look at Daniel Pantaleo. He literally did not do one day in jail for killing Eric Garner. Or who was it? I think his name was Abner Lawima, the one who had the broomstick shoved into his rectum. Who else? Sean Bell. Amadou Diallo. I mean, the list goes on. Stop and frisk. So many things that have fallen upon black people in the state of New York, and not one time did any of those families get justice, or nothing ever quelled the situation. But now that the Asian community is feeling something, just something, now they want to initiate all these new policies. And they don't do a study like they do with us to determine who gets what. It almost sounds like they are on the verge of giving Asian Americans some kind of a reparations package. That's just what I believe. That's just what I feel is about to happen. I could be wrong, but the way that they're literally just doling stuff out, like they're literally just pushing stuff out at the moment. To see what sticks. Now that I got that out of the way, I'm going to just go ahead and read the article and see what they're talking about. The NYPD's new initiative to tackle rising hate crimes against the Asian community will focus on outreach and layers of enforcement, Police Commissioner Dermot Shea said Thursday. Shea said enforcement would include plainclothes officers being deployed in teams to prevent New Yorkers from becoming victims in the first place. That right there raises a red flag for me. Plainclothes officers being deployed in teams. Plainclothes, y'all, that means that they're undercover and you wouldn't know that they were a cop. I'll say this so the message is very clear to everyone. The next person you target, whether it's through speech, menacing activity, or anything else, walking along a sidewalk or a train platform, may be a plainclothes New York City police officer, so think twice. Listen to this. They're doing all of this for the Asian community. Now, if black people, I don't know black people, and the thing is, here's the thing. Black people would have to practically beg, cry, and demand that they do something like this. The Asian community, to my knowledge, didn't even have to do that. They just did it. See, are you seeing the difference here? Black people have to ask or demand for some kind of protection like this. The Asian community, to my knowledge, didn't even ask. They just did it. They just went ahead and saw what was happening with them and just acted on it. See the disconnect, the difference, a huge difference at that. The NYPD is also adding 2 detectives to its hate crime task force. Shea also announced Inspector Tommy Ng as the new leader of the department's Asian hate crime task force, replacing the retiring Deputy Inspector Stuart Liu. The undercover officers are being trained and will be on patrol by the end of the weekend. Look at how fast they're moving. They said they will be trained and will be on patrol by the end of the weekend. The thing is, how long have they been training? They specify that. He described the complement as a robust team, but declined to give a specific number of officers. See, they're doing too much in secrecy. We don't know how long they're being trained, and you don't know how many there's going to be. It's like they're sending out an undercover army to just flood the city. That's what it sounds like to me. He declined to give a specific number of officers, all of whom are of Asian descent. Harris, now see, look at that. They giving them positions. And black people have been suffering for how long, and they can't get one position. At least nothing like what they're doing. Like I said, this all kicked off last year with that hate crime hotline that Letitia James implemented. And now look at what has happened. What have I always told you? It starts off one way and then it snowballs, or it's a domino effect into something else. And this is what it's leading into now. And it's starting in New York, but then of course it's going to snowball and balloon into other states and in other cities. Watch. Harrison said the NYPD had already begun increased outreach efforts, including holding community forums in Flushing and Chinatown, and had another planned for Thursday evening in Sunset Park. People want to know, what do I do? What are the rules? Who do I contact? How do I come forth? How can we have more diversity in NYPD? Harrison said. Harrison said police are using the feedback they are receiving in these forums to develop solutions for combating hate crimes. Oh, now they want to read forums. I'm very sure that black people was leaving stuff in the forum too, but I bet you they didn't read those. Additionally, officers are being deployed to distribute posters and leaflets to people and businesses and communities with larger Asian American populations, encouraging them to work with the police. I see this for what it is. I titled this video perfectly. And the thing is, I didn't even know what I was about to read. This video has the perfect title. Also, anyone who calls 911 for help will now only need to say one word, the English word that identifies the language that they speak, and they'll be connected to an operator that speaks their language. Do y'all see all the stuff they're rolling out for them? They get to say one word, and it transfers them over to an Asian operator. Amazing. The NYPD is actively investigating or has solved 12 anti-Asian bias assaults in 2021. At this time last year, no such crimes had been reported. This comes as community members across. Now look at that. After only 12, y'all. After only 12. I wonder how many anti-black hate crimes have occurred this year alone. We'll never know because they don't talk about it. They don't report it. At least not all of them, or at least the ones that don't make the mainstream anyway. This comes as community members across New York City are stepping up to help protect Asian Americans against attacks. Dozens of people have already volunteered for weekend patrols. Already 60 plus people have volunteered. Basically, we are the eyes and the ears of the community. Document and take some notes, said Teresa Ting, Main Street Patrol. Congresswoman Nicole Malatakis renewed her call for more police and more money for the police, which was echoed by members of the community. We need money. We need funding for the NYPD for more services for our community, said Lisa Chin, Health Essential Organization. The issue is being tackled from the grassroots to uniform police with the goal to show strength in numbers and quell the anti-Asian sentiment that is growing bolder this past year. I see the writing on the wall for what it is already. They about to increase a lot of these staged attacks too. Watch and mark my words. A lot of these so-called attacks are going to become more staged. They probably writing out a script, a screenplay, getting a whole production crew together to start setting it all up. And a lot of the times when a lot of the people in the Asian community are getting attacked, quote unquote, a lot of times it has nothing to do with them being Asian. That's one thing that they won't talk about. A lot of times it doesn't have, sometimes it has something to do with them popping off at the mouth. Let's not sit here and pretend that some people in the Asian community have a smart ass mouth, especially when it comes to black people. Like, you gotta sometimes question, what did they say? And then they start speaking in their native tongue because they know most black people will not understand the language. At this point, black people, we might need to learn some Asian-based languages because they could be talking some shit. I'm just saying. But that's entirely up to you. I've always heard that learning some of the Asian languages aren't the easiest to learn. They said they're some of the hardest languages to learn. But yeah, I see this exactly for what it is. They don't have me fooled. But to the people in New York, just be extra careful because I have the strongest feeling that this is going to be geared towards you. They won't say it, but it is. In a nutshell. Now, I wonder if they're going to start doing this initiative in a lot of other places where there's a lot of PC people at. Where they have a big population. Because if they start setting this up in what they call a lot of metropolitan areas, we already know who they're going after. It'll be too obvious at that point. And New York is a very, very diverse city. It's a melting pot of people in different cultures and ethnicities and nationalities flowing through that area. But we know who they have their eyes on. And that's definitely, without a doubt, black people, for sure. So to the black people who live in New York, be careful. That's all I can say is be careful, be cautious. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this down in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. If you have not done so already, make sure that you text the number that is pinned down in the comments below so you can receive notifications every time I upload a new video.